Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host Sonali Nigam. Today I'm joined by Richard Toy, CEO at Octus Management Group Limited and RSS. Hi Richard. Thank you so much for
Hi,
joining us.
hi, how are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for asking. Would you like
Good.
to kick us off with a brief background as to who you are and what you do?
Yes, as said, my name's Richard Toy. I'm Chief Exec for Orctus Management Group, a group of companies we set up 13 years ago, May 2012. We work primarily in the infrastructure sector, and we've now got two companies within the group. Previously, we had four. We've sold a couple of those off over the past year. So
Mhm.
we've now got RSS Infrastructure, which is the main company. So we've got nine divisions which specialise in heavy rail and light rail for Network Rail, HS2, and the tram systems, of which we are building the Midland Metro Alliance as part of that to extend the tram. We've then also got Orctus Management Group, which in theory is the parent company, but we also trade through that, delivering all of the inductions for HS2 and Balfour Beta Vinci on the northern section, where we've delivered about 33,000 inductions over the last 3.5 years using the fingerprint drug testing system, which is something we have the distribution rights for the UK for the infrastructure sector. And that's probably one of our fastest growing areas for drug testing.
Interesting. Richard, as we were talking before the interview, so 13 years in the business and more, of course. So, what do you attribute your growth to?
Ultimately, it all comes down to the people we employ. Um, when we set the business up, I came out of the corporate world. So previously, my background was very much in the recruitment sector, working for Adecco for 10 years, and then being headhunted by Carillion to set up a company called Sky Blue, which we built to the 35th largest recruitment agency, covering rail, construction, facilities management, very much an infrastructure-based organisation. Setting up our own company, we suddenly realised that there's nobody to pick a phone up to do the accounts, chase the money, do the sales, do the operational delivery. So the one thing I'm very clear about and have developed over the years is you can only go so far yourself. And when you get to a level where you need somebody, get somebody in who's far better than you to do those tasks that you're trying to do yourself. So people for me is the key area. Get the right people, get them to do their jobs correctly, and make your life as easy as possible.
Interesting, Richard. So, talking about people, people are core to any sort of business. What qualities do you look for in employees when you hire them, and how do you foster a positive and a productive work environment?
So we have very much moved away from the graduate qualifications. We are very much focused on technical ability and attitude more than anything. We've seen a real watering down of the graduate schemes and the caliber of people that come out with a degree to support what we need as a business. Even though there are technical degrees out there, for us it's all about the attitude.
Yeah.
If you can recruit the right people with the right attitude, giving them the competency to go around that is the easier part. Because what we need to be able to do, working in the 24/7, 365 industry, we need people who are committed to working uh, predominantly weekends in rail, because that's when there's less commuter traffic running on the
Yeah.
tracks. So they've got to be able to kind of give up a lot of their social life, which again, with the younger generation and the Gen Z people coming out, the hours that they are looking to work is very much to be as flexible as possible,
Yeah.
whereas the infrastructure sector doesn't really allow from operational delivery that kind of flexibility. So struggling to get people with the right competencies. We have to train our own people, grow our own wood and develop them, create the succession plan. We use a lot of apprenticeship frameworks. Um, we don't look for maths and English as a qualification. We look for the individual. we will do the best to support the individual and to support what we need as a business.
Thank you so much for answering that. And Richard, there are a lot of business owners listening to you. So what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
I think the misconceptions is people think it's a easy thing to move into. From our point of view, when we set the business up, we were regularly working 80, 90 hours a week minimum. Because we're 24/7, 365, we had a fleet of vehicles to get people to and from work. To maximise those vehicles, we had to have them running kind of 24 hours a day. So
Yeah,
we were known to sleep in the office if there was a shift finishing at 3 o'clock to get the vehicles back, clean them over, load them
yeah.
up, get them back out for the next team to take out. You can't underestimate the fact that you've got to be the salesperson, the finance person, the credit controller, the commercial team, the health and safety. Everything that you see within a large corporate business still applies to a small business. You, we've all got the same legislation. It doesn't give you any solace that you might be a person employing three people to a person employing, like we do, almost 450 people now with contractors. You've still got to pay your taxes. You've still got to pay HMRC. You need to have your eyes open and try and find as many programs that you can get through your, like we did. We went with the what used to be the West Midlands LEP. They're now called growth hubs for the various councils. They run lots of business schools for people to set up and really understand about running your own business with free training that's funded by the government. So I would always recommend anybody starting up. Certainly don't think that you know it's all just because you've done the job working for a
Yeah.
corporate. We've learnt the hard way. We've made plenty of mistakes along the route. But we've grown to a 30 million pound group over the last 13 years with lots of opportunities to build on. But that has come through a bit of pain, but also identifying where you can get free training, free grants that support you as a person.
Thank you, Richard. Talking about the hard ways, what are some biggest learnings that you've made during this journey? Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, uh, probably the biggest learnings in the outset were trying to take on too much. Um, so if the old analogy, you can't eat the elephant all at once, you've got to break it down into elephant burgers and take it a bite at a time. In our sector, being very highly regulated, health and safety is critical.
Yeah.
A lot of our cost, a lot of our time is had to ensure that we're providing the right personal protective equipment, we're doing the right competency management. We've got a lot of red tape. So where we've grown exponentially over the years is that we've come from a highly regulated, or it used to be more of a highly regulated industry with recruitment and employment law. So we kind of looked at the rail sector where it's even more highly regulated. We know that we're good at that kind of compliance piece. And as long as we got the compliance piece right, which was tough in the beginning, but now certainly with the use of AI that's coming through and technology, we're utilising a lot of technology to support us in areas that before were quite time consuming. But it takes a lot of time initially to be able to juggle so many plates and spin so many plates to keep the business going.
So talking about AI, Richard, if I can ask that, because when you said, AI had made your life so much easier. So what
Mhm.
impact will AI have on your industry, if I can ask that?
Uh, from an industry point of view, where there is any form of data, then that's where AI will kind of really help. So we've invested in a bid writing tool to help us write bids. It
Yeah.
effectively takes all of our previous bids that we've submitted, reads those previous answers, generates three answers for us to kind of review. You've always got to make sure you've got the human in the loop to verify everything because AI can be discriminatory in a lot of ways. So it's got its own views on life. If you asked it to draw a picture of somebody driving a car down the road, uh, 99 times out of 100, it'll put a male driving the car and not a female. So
Yeah,
it's got bias written into it because that's how it's been developed.
developed. Yeah,
But AI for us is very much about standardizing documents, taking all of those regular data entry tasks that we have to complete, automating those, putting in the work process flows. We're currently saving for our commercial team, as an example, we're probably saving around 30 hours a week
yeah.
with
Wow.
requests for quotations, which is now being automatically generated with price lists and various other data.
Yeah. Richard, that's quite interesting about the AI impact. But I'm very keen to know if you get a magic wand and if you have to do all of it over again, you get a chance to do it, how will that look like?
How would that look like? Um, when we set the business or when we set Orctus Management Group up, we set that vehicle up to buy what was then Rail Safety Solutions, which is now RSS Infrastructure. That was a small business turned over or allegedly turned over £596,000. We did some very light due diligence with our client base that also we'd used or we worked with previously, and they used RSS. Um, because it was light touch, we got all the invoices verified. But ultimately, within 3 weeks, we got the first call saying we need a £39,000 credit, we need a £45,000 credit. The equipment that you've been using, that you've been sold as your own, was actually stolen from another company 6 years ago, and it's just materialised with you. So if you are going to set up with a view to buying a company, it's that due diligence piece at the outset, because effectively that burnt our cash, having to
Uh-huh.
refund those invoices. We
Yeah.
had to go back for some more funding to support us, which our funders had real belief in the management team because of the experience that we had, and it's paid dividends. We'd have looked for more grant funding at the start.
Uh-huh.
Grant funding back in those 13 years ago, it was probably some of it was 100% grant funding, some of it was 80% and 20% we had to put up. Most
Yeah.
grants these days are 50-50, but they're still worth the weight in gold
Mm-hmm.
to help support you with access to discounted technology for customer relation management, CRM systems that you can get. So I think we would have done that. We'd have gone out more looking for grants and support from consultants rather than because we've been in the sector that we'd been in for the last 30 years, thinking that we were clever enough to go and do it ourselves. Running your own business is a completely different animal.
I'm sure. With your experience, if you are saying so, then it definitely was and definitely is. We've talked a lot about your business, Richard. Let's quickly talk a bit about your personal life. So, how do you strike that perfect balance between your personal and the professional life? What's the
Uh,
mantra?
having having a very understanding wife and family. So certainly at the beginning, Kay worked quite heavily within the business, so we would often be sitting at two ends of the settee with laptops running till midnight,
Oh God.
resource planning. And as we'd grown into a contracting company more than a recruitment business,
Mhm.
the needs of the business have changed. And again, recruiting the right people who can do the jobs that you thought you could do, but they can do far better, gives you a far better work-life balance.
Uh-huh.
Um, Delegating tasks, you can't do everything. Uh, and if you're one of those people that you get frustrated that it takes somebody 30 goes to do it, and you take the work back off them and do it yourself, stick out and keep telling them for that 30th time because you've got to be able to free yourself up to work on your business, not in your business.
Very
Otherwise, you
important.
won't grow. You'll stand still, and if you stand still, effectively, you're going backwards because your competition will overtake you.
So true. And Richard, that is quite inspirational as well. And I'm sure our audience have picked up and learned so many things so far. Is there any closing remark or a golden nugget that you would like to share with the audience before we wrap up?
Goes back to what I said earlier at the start. It all comes down to the people. If you have uh, bad eggs in your business, regardless of how good they are at the job, and we've made mistakes over the years, and we've had people who have been really fantastic, but they really dragged the atmosphere and the culture of the business down. You've got to get rid of them. You've got to have a team of people that want to work for you. They're going to be positive about working for you. They've got the right skills. And as long as you are investing in those people, so we make sure that where possible, everybody has a monthly one-to-one on a personal basis to go through their how we can support them to be better. Uh, Building that kind of family culture for us and that support structure reaps its dividends. You can't, nobody, no company can build anything without the people behind it. So our focus always goes on the people first and foremost. So that's where I would suggest everybody focuses. We don't do an annual PDR anymore because you'll do the meeting, you'll stick it in the drawer, and you'll pull it out the drawer next year. Those
Yeah.
monthly one-to-ones keep everybody on track
Uh-huh.
and communicating with the business. I do a weekly email out to the whole business on what's happened, what's good, what's indifferent, what we need to look at, what's coming up. So that communication and people is where I'd say for people to focus.
I think we've got the headline already. Thank you so much, Richard, for your time today. It was great speaking to you and knowing so much about your journey. I enjoyed it thoroughly, so thank you so much for that as well.
Thank
To
you.
everyone, yeah, to everyone watching, I look forward to see you in my next episode. Thank you, Richard.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.